Our next speaker also has an amazing pedigree, really. A professional player for over 20 years in the Finnish and German leagues, Niklas Hede has transitioned from player to coach to director of development during a 30-year journey in the game. He's been a head of youth coaching for Vantaa, for iihfhockey Helsinki, and Red Bull Salzburg. And he's currently the director of development for Red Bull Munich ice hockey. The title of his presentation is From Learning to Leadership. A really intriguing title, and I can't wait to see where Niklas takes us. I've just had a chat with Niklas in the last 5 minutes while we were preparing, and I think you're in for a treat. So please welcome Niklas Hede. Thank you, Niklas.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about learning to leadership and going through a little bit my own pathway in my job and in hockey. Let's see if I get this working. No. No. Look at this. Yes. So, just shortly, I played 22 years pro, and the last 10 years, while playing, I was studying, doing my coaching licenses and coaching beside my playing. And 2010, I stopped playing, and since then, I'm working in the development of the hockey and with the coaches. This is something my mentor told me. I think it's, for sure there's a lot in that text, something you could put in your back heads. And Lasse was also talking a little bit about it. It's important as we're coaching or leading to be able to be in this culture, but also to be able to come out of it. So look at ourselves from outside. Really important skill. Yeah. And not going to talk, because you're your own cultures yourself, and then the surroundings you're working in. As I said, I stopped playing 2010, and I was lost. I had been 14 years in Germany, and I knew my hockey. I knew the hockey context, but that was the pro hockey context that I've been in for the last 20 years. But what my job was, and that the guy who told me about that culture eats you, he helped me understand where I belong, because I was going to make hockey players, and he helped me understand that the three sectors. So you got the private sector with all the businesses, all the money, and of course then pro hockey belongs later than there. Then we got the public sector with our school system, health education, and then the non-profit sector, it's all the club activity. And that was now my new environment. And Finland was built on a really strong club activity. So we were talking about trust, connecting people. That's what clubs are doing. Decisions in the 1950s, it was the first sip I got of leadership. Somewhere middle of 50s, Finland was a pretty poor country, and the government made a decision. We need a better healthcare and school system. So we gotta get money. So they said, let's forget the people for a while. Now they gotta go really hard. They gotta go 100% every day. And I think without that decision, we wouldn't sit here, because they were pounding their asses and working their asses off to create money. And nowadays Finland has their one of the best school systems in the world, and the healthy system is also pretty good. So that was the first time I started understanding, okay, what's leadership, and maybe a little bit goofy story. My grandmother was working at the fabric at that time. They put her in a glass cabin. I think she was packing some stuff there, and they were counting how hard she can work. And she got her first heart attack with 52. But now we can have a good time here. So I knew my job is to create healthy networks for the future with hockey. Then, a huge thank you to the Finnish hockey. I think 1976 I went my first Finn hockey school in Vierumäki, and for a great knowledge, but I started understanding what the federation does. The federation is creating the strategies and all the concepts, and then the area is taking them down to the clubs. So that was the people I could trust, I could go and talk to. As I said, I was lost, but my job then was trying to create dialogue, trying to create roadmaps and in the player development, but also coaching the coaches. As I said, you start, and I was running around, jumping on the ice. I was doing the coach's job instead of helping the coaches. Then, as I said, first year I was in Vantaa, but then after a year I got to move to Helsinki. I learned a lot in Vantaa, and the day they phoned me from Helsinki, I said, I'm sorry, I can't come, there's so much to learn. But they told me, okay, you come, you follow the games, practices, and there we go. And then the thing, as a player, I didn't win too much. What Lasse said, you enjoy being in that group. It also gives you skills, and I think the biggest skill I got, you went into a room where you had people, you felt what they were thinking, you felt their emotions. So the first half a year, I was drinking coffee with the coaches to understand the environment there, and talking to the parents, understand what they're thinking. And then around Christmas time, what's going on? People angry, anxious, and the system there on that platform and that environment. In March, we started with tryouts. There was 3 big clubs still is, in Helsinki. And March, April, every year, around 10 new players came in, 10 players withdrew out. And I was, okay, this is the system. And all the clubs did it, not just us. And starting when they were 10 years old. So then you start understanding, this is not a development platform, this is a platform of fear. Kids were scared. So what we were talking, we were thinking, and what could we do? So what we did, through the recruiting, you had kids overall Helsinki coming to the program, and I was like, some of the kids lived 100 meters from their home rink. This is stupid. So we started with a couple of cooperation clubs, or creating cooperation with a couple of clubs, trying to give them knowledge and having a dialogue with them to get better environments. And then the federation at the same time started doing that too. So helped us, and I think that started slowly working, and I think now there's a lot of players coming from Helsinki. And at the same time, in the bigger picture, that was our own environment. In the bigger picture, of course, I was a former athlete. I also wanted to compete against the other clubs. And I was looking at our structures. So the priorities, the mental environment, yeah, game, okay, athletics, okay, and skills. So trying to analyze what kind of competencies and what kind of concepts we have in the priorities. And I looked at one of the clubs. There's even here sitting now a couple of guys working there, really good coaches, having their concepts. They had a strong playbook. But then again, we started understanding in Helsinki, we have to try to create a community. And then again, a couple of the clubs, they started it really, really early to recruit players from their own cooperation clubs. And the funny thing, it's nothing like, no negative, like we had our program, it was not a disaster, but we had, there was a lot of tradition, but we were missing the communication, and the competition was so hard that we didn't develop the players. But the one club, what happened, they didn't create the community, they created a lot of players. And suddenly, because for success, you need the concept, you need the competence, but you also need the capital. And suddenly you didn't have enough money or people to create money, and suddenly one of the bigger clubs there disappeared. And then they also suffered in the youth program. So that was a learning for me. We got to take care of our community and also our players. We got to understand the balance between them. And of course, the time when we start building the pyramid, we got to know the right moment. So to get a good pyramid and a healthy pyramid, we got to understand we need enough good hockey clubs. What they started with today, we need to grow hockey also, not just the competition. And talked about culture, that there, it's a good tool to, of course, I can't read thoughts, but I can listen to the dialogue, I can watch the doing, I can watch the habits, and then you start seeing the culture. It doesn't matter on which level, but these were the learnings for me and tools that I slowly started understanding this piece here, this piece here, this piece here. Then, as a Finn, it's hard to talk about these things. The years I think I played 14 years in Germany. But during my playing career, we're talking earlier about life-work balance. I felt the Swedish players, they were the most balanced. They knew what they were doing with their life. The quality of the players was really, really high. And of course, when I quit playing, I was like, why? Why is it like this? So I went, my boss sent me pretty often to Sweden to tournaments, and I used this as a chance to go and meet different clubs. And maybe the first thing, I sat in Stockholm in one of the youth rinks, and there's a youth practice going on. The drill was pretty complex, and one of the players you saw, he was for sure, we were talking about performance and trust, he was for sure the performer. Big kid, good skills, but he didn't understand the practice. So he went. It was a 2-on-1 practice where there was a couple of regroups in all the directions. He got sour. He took his stick, boom, threw it up in the stands, wooden stands. And I'm sitting there as a Finn, and I was, what the fuck is that? Hey, like, what happens? Nothing. The coach, he keeps on teaching the kids and supporting the kids that are doing the drill, understanding it. It's okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. The kid comes, climbs up, takes his stick, tries again. What happens? He throws the stick on the other side. After 4 or 5 minutes, the kid is doing the drill. I was, okay. Yeah. So instead of taking the kids, giving shit, this can't happen, he was helping the kids that were able to do it. I was, okay, understood something. Next thing, I was in Göteborg, visiting Frölunda, and they had a hockey school education, and I was used PowerPoint slides, pam, 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 pam. That was our education at the time in Finland. I think the most of the place, somebody is here in front telling the truth, this is the way it works. And then there was the U20, Swedish U20 coach, and then a really, really experienced U20 federation guy. They had 2 slides. And all the hockey school teachers, I think 14 of Frölunda cooperation clubs, sitting there. Lucky my mother tongue is Swedish, so I'm sitting there listening. And then, first slide, what's a good hockey school? And everybody got the chance to tell what's a good hockey school. And then there's one guy, he goes, from a small club, he goes, yeah, I think the 1969 age group was the first age group I did in hockey school. And then there's Frölunda, young guy, maybe 28, 29, full of power, pam, pam, pam. I was, okay, this is dialogue, this is changing ideas. And then after, it took maybe an hour, they went through everybody, and then after that, they had a coffee and something to eat, and then they said, okay, go together, groups, create a good hockey school practice. Okay. So that was the next learning. And then to get on deeper water, every time I was in Sweden, I saw chaos. And I was, what's chaos? I went home. I haven't done enough formal schooling, so I go to Wikipedia, my Bible, and then chaos, first Greek gods, chaos. All the knowledge comes from chaos. I said, okay, then I need chaos in my practice. So we started then creating a little bit more chaos. Of course, you have to know what you do. And then we had a parents or a family camp. And then in the evening, having played a small game with the dads and a couple of beers. And then I'm always predicting my deep water shit. And all the car dealer dads, they didn't want to listen to me. But then one of the guys, he said, Niklas, what did you tell about chaos? Yeah, I said, we try to hide our drills in the chaos, because that's the game nowadays. Niklas, I've been wondering what you're doing. I'm a brain researcher, and I've been researching the big leaders in Silicon Valley. And Niklas, do you know what's the difference between the best and the really, really, really good ones? The really, really good ones, they see structure faster in the chaos. So if you're able to teach that to my son, with hockey, congratulations. And of course, that's the moments for a guy like me when you say, fuck, this is fun. This is fun. And so I created this tool. There's for sure something I stole from somewhere, and of course, when we're dealing with chaos, we got to make sure there's trust. So there was a lot of talking about trust. So I learned something: the capacity of trust, trust in goodness, trust in communication, and trust in competence. And that we can put in the different contexts if we're down low, if you're up high, and I think it's a good tool to remember. Then we started, instead of going, of course, you need also teaching, you go from simple to difficult, but we started more in this direction. A lot of chaos, kids didn't have so much knowledge, and when they start learning, the chaos gets less in their head, knowledge gets more, and then we got to be sure, that's then the coaching, then we got to create more chaos. Get them up here again and get them down. And this here was really important to understand. It was a group of soccer guys. Professor Mehmet is one of them. They had a really nice slide with a lot of different things, but that row also opened my mind. Usually we come in with a plan, and then we go a little bit the other direction. We make a plan, and then we start teaching the plan, and then we have to motivate them. And then I understand, what if we do this? We're first beginners. Understand, okay, what's a beginner? I had a good chat with one of the coaches. He said, yeah, I'm thinking about the things I haven't done. Yeah, of course, I'm a beginner at that area. When I begin it, and for me, working with the smaller kids, it's really important. So in the beginner stage, the important thing is to get a connection, to feel secure, to know these people I can trust. And in Finland, at least, often we said, yeah, these are the rules, this is the way you have to behave here in the beginner stage. And for kids, they come to a new spot, it's scary. So if we have success that the rink, the classroom, the locker room, it becomes the locker room of the kids, they know they're secure here, then they can start exploring hockey. If we have success with that, then they start exploring, how do they get noticed? How do they get seen? So, and we know how that is. They stand in the, then they start doing shit, and then we punish them, and then, hard. And we know, after exploring, we start understanding, and to understand these processes is for me pretty important for the coaches. So, as I said, maybe not enough formal education, and I had to look for knowledge all the place. And then I met one guy who is working with teaching, and then suddenly the stuff I thought I discovered, but there's enough smart people that they discovered everything a lot before. So it gave me names. I started understanding what I didn't like about the teaching was, I have the truth, you do. I liked more, I know, but then through that, so the difference here between, if I go from pedagogy to andragogy, so then I give the players a problem, and then I'm watching and helping them solve it. And then if I go to hoitagogy, I create them an environment, and then I try to help them there, but at the same time, they're teaching me. And when I saw that, I was like, that's exactly the same thing with the coaching. With the leadership. Do I come every morning and tell my coaches, this is the way you have to do? And of course, now I've been doing this with this stuff maybe for 6-7 years, but I'm still an explorer in this stage. So now the question, we see all the problems coming up. Coaches been throwing out also in NHL, but I think this is a little bit the thing, like the way, because the pedagogy learning, it's faster. Like we go pam, 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 it's fast. But then again, going to andragogy and hoitagogy, I think the knowledge gets a little bit deeper. So I think it's, again, just for you guys to see this, and maybe you can use this somewhere. And that's pretty much what's happening. So we're creating meanings, and the list there before, these are the things that are happening, so we understand when we give an impulse, how do we give it, and then slowly we start giving meanings to how do I feel when I come to the rink, what do I going to expect. Maybe a short story of myself and learning. I was from a small town and two-speaking family, speaking Swedish and Finnish in my family, but I went to a Swedish-speaking school. But in my family, we didn't sing, we didn't write, we didn't draw anything. It was a working family, working hard, and I was doing all the sport that exists, from motocross to everything. But due to my background and in school or at home, nobody knew me. From the first day on, my teacher started telling me I'm stupid. Yeah, and I went outside. I was accepted by the other kids because I was pretty good at sports, but all my writings and all my homeworks just full with red pen because okay, this is a pen, and I didn't know the letters, and a lot of the kids already knew. So the meaning for me, school, and at the same time the authorities, and then like started talking about growth mindset, fixed mindset. That's we made a process of a growth mindset process and a project in IFK, and you start seeing those things, and then I was like, wait a minute, like my sports, it's more of a hoitagogy model of an andragogy model of learning, exploring, understanding, huge engagement, a lot of passion to that. And then again, school, like standing here, sweating my ass off, being nervous, because I got to stand here and tell you something. So like this tool also to understand, we're creating every time we meet people, we create meanings. At the same time, I went from Helsinki to Salzburg, burned out a little bit there in Helsinki, trying to build the umbrella model, trying to save the whole world. Went around all the place. Went to Red Bull. And now I was at the first months. I told you guys about culture eats you. You were used to something. You go there, and suddenly, of course, first months it's a honeymoon. Everything's nice, great buildings. But soon I was like, I don't really feel good here. And did I step out of the culture and look at it? No. I went home and had a glass of red wine. And at the same time, I was coaching the U16 team. Got to get around Austria. Discovered that area. It was really nice to understand what are they doing there. What's the structure there. But after half a year, I started understanding the company values. So when I read that, passion, responsibility, freedom, focus, mastery, I was okay. This I buy. First, my job down low with the coaches, we have to create passion. If we have success with that, when we give them the responsibility through freedom to do what they like, the focus is going to be on the point, and we're getting mastery. And I was okay. I could identify myself with this. The same thing. They were also Red Bull company defining the word talent. There was the one slide with talent development, natural way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Everybody is a talent. Somebody said now he's saving the word again. But yeah, somebody is more, his hockey talent, there's more of or better thinking and feeling about that, but it made my job easier. Not saying you're a talent, you're not. Everybody was a talent. So again, trying to see the strengths. So, this is something that's really important for me and what I understood in Sweden with the dialogue. I think we're really good. We're really good here, up this side. Making goals, making plans there, but understand the dialogue. Understand the dialogue, and I think the passion is hiding there. So give the time to explore. If I'm talking skills, there's always, we should, skills, technique. I think it starts with dialogue to the eyes. And we made educations. We had hockey skaters teaching skating, hips here, and then we had the figure skaters, same education, and they were laughing. They were, what are they talking about? Hips here. No, skating comes from down and up. Again, we got to know the different parts, but the dialogue we have to feel. We have to feel. I have to feel my stick to be able to feel the puck. And that's where, how many of you is practicing how to be slow? Who is practicing how to be slow? Nobody. Okay? Good. I read a book about a guy. He said, I would like to be the master of teaching how to be slow. I was with one kid here from the pro team in Munich. He grew up always going hard. And then I said, now show me a slow move. Like you come around and then you go, boh. And he goes, I said, hurting. Yes, it's hurting. So to understand when we're teaching, we got to do always we're talking about big, small, slow, fast when we're teaching and learning. That we feel stuff. Don Jackson, for me, one of the guys, one of the most successful, I think 9 DL championships, Stanley Cup. Was that, yeah, what's game sense? And then we were talking, I said, yeah, I think for me, game sense, it's a feel of time. How do you teach it? How do you teach it? Yeah, I think teaching slow and fast. But this, to the dialogue, I think that's to understand that word. It's something that I'm exploring, trying to understand what it means. Mats Emanuelsson, Mats was coaching the Swedish youth national team years ago, but I guess he was mentor of the Sedin brothers, and he was in the academy. Said, yeah, ice practice. He goes, Niklas, today we are practicing puck comes to me. I was like, okay, Mats is pretty old. He doesn't know it's a toe drag. Mats, you mean toe drag? No. I mean puck comes to me. Okay. Niklas, you got to understand. First you come, you're one line, defenseman is there. Now you put puck on the side. Now it's the defenseman's turn. Defenseman goes to the puck comes to me. Oh, fuck off. Like we're doing pylons, technique, and how smart. And he goes, then smart defenseman, he comes to me. I go to puck. He goes, but then puck pressure, he comes to me. What the fuck? I go on and go on. So again, a thing for me that to see those things and understand, always a dialogue, always a dialogue. If we want to have good forwards, we need good defensemen. And understanding the steps there. So I've been really lucky. I got to work in the whole house. Last year I got to work the whole year with the pro team, seeing Don Jackson work. I was a couple of months with the pros in Salzburg. I was in the academy. I had a couple of teams there, and working with the youth in Salzburg. Now working with the youth in Munich. The funny thing about trust and the context and how we are, meanings, I think I told somebody here, I still have a little bit overweight. I try to lose it, but I had more when I was in Salzburg because the food in academy is pretty good and I didn't move so much. I got a phone call one Monday morning from the GM. He goes, Niklas, we're going to fire the coach. And I tried to find a good assistant coach. I didn't find one, so I tried to phone you now. So I said, okay, good, I'm in. But the funny thing about meanings, suddenly I was 22 years in the pro house, in the pro bubble. I get in there, and I didn't go once on the scale. Enjoying it. I lost 5 kilos just because I got back home to the pro world. This sounds stupid, but I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy. So this much you miss something you've been doing every day and I think there's a lot of good, a lot of players here that went through the same things. The tool here. I really like it. So, the room of contentment, room of denial, room of confusion, room of renewal. So, for example, our pro team in Salzburg, 2007, I think, 6, 7, yeah, Pierre Pachet started building that, brought in good young Austrian players. They created a culture. They had his way to play, and they had success. I don't know how the daily business was, but they had success. And this, they went, I think they won 4 or 5 championships. And then 2015, I went to Salzburg, and that was when the era was over. And now watching back through this tool, being in the room of contentment with the success and what happens to us when we have success, also the lifespan, understanding, players get older, culture starts dribbling down, and then 15, 16, 17, no championships. And suddenly the language of the culture there, it's a room of denial. Yeah, we won 4 championships. And I really like this tool. And now Matt McIlvaine has built a new culture there, and I hope there's a new culture slowly growing there. And the same thing with the academy. It's now for 7 years, and people start trusting each other. The concepts, the competence, slowly it's getting better. And everybody's, yeah, nice building, nice house. It should be coming more players. But we see what kind of processes we're dealing with. Of course, I talked with one of the coaches here. He said, yeah, 1-year deal, 2-year deal, and then we expect success. But building culture, creating new concept, and going through these things. Being patient, doing that. And again, in my word, working with the youth. So if we now start with a U8 player or a U8 team, in 10 years, so 2032, they're 18. So again, the successful moments, winning games, we gotta find the passion from somewhere else. And I tried to tell my bosses, this is the world I'm living in. I go here into the room of chaos and confusion and bring shit up here, and then slowly we want to go there. But that's the youth hockey. Creating knowledge, creating dialogue, connecting people. This I stole. I think this is great. Tommy Boosted had his presentation in Cologne. If you go into the sites there, he had pointers of building a successful team. So, and then he had 10 pointers of building of the coaching business, and also we were talking about simplifying, and then 10 pointers of success. But why I'm showing this, now I'm in Munich, and in a situation where the youth club, it's not Red Bull yet, but slowly transforming. So when I went there, I needed a tool and tools. How do I go in and work there? And of course, having the values of Red Bull can't be my values of Finnish Federation. I gotta work with those values. So the philosophy of Red Bull, they create meanings. In their case, the can. My tool is hockey, so meanings in hockey. Then the freedom through the things you love, and then a strength-based thinking. And to this, a big thank you to one of my first coaching educations, we were playing floorball, I think 2003, and then Jukka Laminaho, one of those guys, you never see his name in newspapers, but middle of the education, we were playing floorball, and he goes, Nick, when I blow my whistle, you tell the good things you see. He blows the whistle, and I didn't see anything good, because I grew up just seeing mistakes and correcting mistakes. So it's been a long, I didn't understand how smart that was at that time, but it's been a long way to start seeing strengths. Yeah, I don't go more in the big thing. The big thing also helping, not making the small clubs in Bavaria, taking their players. We try to help them, but it's going also to be a long project with Munich there. That was also one tool for me when I went there. And then, it's been maybe through COVID, the rink didn't get ready. We were supposed to take the club over a couple of years ago already. So just now I'm living a mishmash of those 3 first steps there. And again, I'm telling here I should step out of that culture, but it's not that easy. But I try my best. And then what we're doing, creating a common vision. So I told about the priorities. I think you already, we've been talking about the mental side, the leadership, teaching. Then we got the game priority as the next, maybe the biggest one, understanding what's game teaching in the different stages. So like in Finland, first we go with the game situation rolls up till 13, 14. After that we start talking about the game priorities, and then later it grows together with the pro hockey system, maybe their U20 age group. So when I went to Munich, I knew the big value was we want to be the best skaters, and then was okay. We gotta get into the game part, so we tried to use a little bit the andragogy, hoitagogy model. I always don't like giving ready concepts, but I threw them the coaches the game situation role things, and then the coaches, what is this? I said, I don't know. Try to find out, and it's pretty easy with the offensive guy with the puck, the 4 offensive without the puck, the guys defending the guy with the puck, and then the 4 guys defending the guys without the puck. Pretty simple, but it was something new for them, and had a couple of meetings, and then one of the coaches, he said, Nick, understand what you say, but how do I teach it? I said, I don't know. You're the coach. So 3-4 days later, he phones me and he goes, Nick, what if the offensive guy with the puck would be the sun, and the guy defending him would be the thundercloud? I said, Matt, great. Yeah, and then the bodies of the sun would be the planets. And then the guys defending the planets would be the shadow clouds. So suddenly we had our language. And now a lot of people, they're laughing. But again, we got to understand, we're trying to find a dialogue for the kids and a language for the kids, a common language. Yeah. So first year, we were thinking or working with these things, creating our common language, and to understand this is the role. Transition is going from role to role. That's transition, down low, bam, 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 really fast. Understanding, I got different job, and just often I see games and they're just seeing the sun. The same thing, academy first years, we were just recruiting sons. And then you get in trouble. And then, of course, we have to understand what are the skills and behavior of the sun and the thundercloud, and on and on. So this is the way what we're doing now, or where we are in Munich just now, trying to understand last winter, a lot of work around the thundercloud. Our skill level is not that high yet. With a sun, we need time. But then again, it's funny, through these chaos practices, in these roles, the funny thing, we're pretty good finding pucks in broken place. And the funny thing is, when a 12-year-old or a mom of a 12-year-old kid comes and goes, hey, this is good with the roles. My son came, we were watching the game of the pro game, and they go, that Patrick Hager, he's a great thundercloud. So going step by step and creating a common language to get the game better. Puru, pretty good? Or pretty fast? Puru was a little bit afraid that I'm talking 3 hours. There, questions?
Okay, so are you saying that you were the sun and Piri was the thundercloud?
Actually, he once took me to the hospital somewhere up in Lapland. He promised he had a doctor close, but we were going for almost an hour, and I had a big cut in my lip, but he did a good job. He was flirting to the receptionist there. So
there you go. You have to make the most of your time.
That's the beer and donut.
You have to multitask. That's what we call it. Okay, brilliant. Look, Niklas, I've made a ton of notes really here, and I think one of the concepts that I really like listening to you about, because we have the same issue with basketball in both, in coach education, in how people coach, right? The idea of chaos and the beauty of chaos. And that kind of constant cycle from chaos to structure to chaos to structure. And I wanted to ask you a question around that, because I think sometimes, correct me if I'm wrong, really interpreting what you said, but sometimes when we say to coaches, you have to create chaos, sometimes they interpret that as just let them play, okay? And the learning will happen, right? But I think there's more, you have to design the chaos. So can you talk a little bit about that from your perspective?
This is why what I showed about the Finnish Federation I love, because Finns are really structured. We're really good at creating concepts. And that's helped me understand these are the things we need. And then if it's the coach, learning the coaches, teaching the coaches, or the kids, it's the same thing. What I thought, I think you can't just say, okay, we make everything. No, then you get lost, and then you don't. Then it's a mess. It's not a chaos; it's a mess, and we have to know what we're dealing with. Yeah. And what you said about basketball, we had a small visit to Bayern basketball, and they work with a same concept, and it's also helping then us. And we have one player who is playing basketball and hockey, and he's by far the best guy reading the game. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Excellent. And I think, there's a lot of crossovers between ice hockey and basketball because of the way the game is, because of what you're trying to achieve in the game. And I think we don't do that enough. We don't really share between sports enough. And I think there could be a lot of learning there as well. On that note, really, because this is related to that, I really like the idea that you talked about the house of change, okay? And the 4 rooms, okay? The room of contentment, the room of renewal, the room of confusion, and the room of denial, okay? Now, that's okay for you because you are into that mentality, but what happens when you're working with other people and you are either in the room of confusion trying to, as you put it, put shit in the room of renewal, okay? But everybody else around you is in the room of denial. How do you manage that situation?
I think it's important to listen. And we're talking about trust here. First, I gotta win the trust. And if you're in the room of denial saying, fuck, it's everything shit, then I go, fuck, everything is shit. Everything fuck sucks. So now
you come in the room with
I
me,
come
right?
into your room, and then everything is shit. Everything is shit. And then, and suddenly we get the shit out, and then sun is starting to shine. This is a way I like to work, because, trying to create the dialogue, a tight dialogue, and then through the trust, finding something we can hook onto and start building those things.
To open that door to the room.
Yeah. And I think also important to, like, it's not just the team, it's just also me. I can put, or the game. Like suddenly, middle of the game, we have a good start and we're 3-0 up, bam. I think the same mechanism happens in there.
And I found as well, it's funny because sometimes I've been the one that was in the room of denial, and a player came into that room to rescue me and take me to another room, even at 15 years of age. Okay, it's amazing how that can work both ways. Okay, any questions from the floor? Any ideas? There was a lot of concepts out there. Go on then. Can we get a microphone up here, please? And again, if you don't mind, name, and I know you did it last time, okay, but
the same name as last time, Ivan from Switzerland. Yeah, you talk about chaos, and how do you form the players? Did you begin by the chaos to solve, to find solution in the chaos, or you give them the tools, like the technique, for after that they can solve the chaos with the techniques? You understand my question?
Yeah. I think this is something. It's a really good question, because if I now the 2 words. I'm in Finland, and in my backyard, behind my backyard is a kindergarten and the first 2 grades of school. So I'm listening to kids play there every day, and I hear all the top Finnish players playing there. Yeah, every day, every pause. So average 1.5 hours or an hour a day the kids play. So they're in contact with the ball, floor ball every day. And then I go to Munich, downtown. They don't play. So the only place they have the stick in the hand is at the practice. 3 times a week, an hour. So if we just go to the chaos part, it's difficult. So I think to also know the context, how much do we teach them? How much, because a lot of the kids in Munich, they can't have the stick in their hand. It's not that bad, but yeah. So I think knowing what you're dealing with. I wouldn't touch too much the kids down low in Finland, and the one-on-ones and those things are high there. Of course, you have skill drills too, just hard skills, going pylons. But in Finland, I would do it more, and in Munich, we have to do a little bit more that they really get to touch the puck, and designing the practice a little bit different. And at the same time, at the moment, I'm in a hurry with my coach that they start seeing the game, because it's important that they're able to transport the otherwise we're able to do like the soccer players, you just bounce the ball but you don't understand the game. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah.
I think in that, yeah, I'll come to you in a second. I think one of the things, because we have very similar conversations in basketball about how do we coach, right? And something that we keep at the university with our students all the time is, look, why don't we try to help them learn to play while playing to learn? Can we do those two things? Learn to play and play to learn all the time. And in that cycle of the game as the basis, really, starting from the game, can we learn to play and play to learn? And that's kind of the way we put it. Yes, you had a question there.
Yes, Marcus, in charge of development, Swiss ice hockey. The common language, can you comment a little bit more how you implement this to kids? I mean, we are far away uneducated. To bring this metaphors up, do you teach with PowerPoint or are you going on? How to that's if you comment how to implement, and second, how you control. They have the right understanding on this kind of language thing. I like it.
One of the was a hockey camp in Helsinki, and the day was over. One of the coaches helping out went into the coach's locker room. He was on the floor with my son. He was maybe 8 years old. They were playing with small sticks, and coach tells me, your son let me into his word. And I think I was like, was that smart? Was that smart? We tried to put our word to the kids. We should be able to go into their word. As coaches, we should also be able to go a little bit into players' word and understand where they are. So I think the kids, when we build the picture, it's the same thing. I like the thinking of a puzzle. So first thing for me is the cover of the puzzle. And the kids' puzzle, how many pieces? 3, 4? Yeah. We don't give them a puzzle without a cover, and there's 1,000 pieces. So I think understand those things, try to get into that language, and try to create a culture where I don't have to look like a specialist. I would like to be a specialist, but you go around, you tell stories. Of course, at the high level, up on the top of the mountain, there's not a lot of air. But the guys who are being patient there in the chaos, and I think that's where it's important to ease up. We try to be relaxed. It's, I think, important.